Hello, tonight's video is a little excerpt from my 2014 book, All Acts of Love and Pleasure, Inclusive Wicker, which has a completely marvellous cover by Paul Rucker, who is a really lovely artist. So what I'm going to share with you is a visualization, and the visualization is based on the concept of archetypes. Now, when I made this video last night, I failed to record it, and it would have been perfect. And last night I had a bookmark in the book and everything. Tonight, not so much. So now I've got to find the visualization, which is annoying, because I'm not going to be able to find it. So while I'm finding the visualization, I will tell you my thoughts about visualization techniques. So although I'm going to share with you a recording of an actual visualization, I would recommend that you take the outline of the visualization and make it your own. Do your own version of it, because when you're doing a visualization, it's much better if you leave lots of gaps for people's imagination, and if you leave gaps between what you're saying so people can take in what you've said and form a visual image in their minds. And so if you say that there's some trees in the visualization, don't mention what type of trees, because people will visualize their own trees, and then when you say, oh, it was an oak tree, they'll go, oh no, now I've got to change it because I had a birch tree and now I've got to change it to an oak tree. And it's really confusing. So it's actually better just to say generic trees and invite people to notice what kind of trees they've got in their personal visualization. Same goes for things like the colour of the rocks or the shape of specific things. For instance, I never put in really complicated stuff about fancy crystals or pretty lights or anything, because that's too complicated and most people can only hold one image in their mind at a time. So something to bear in mind as we're going through the visualization, which I've now found. So when you start a visualization, you need to take a deep breath and relax and take it easy and make sure that you're comfortable and that you've detensed all your muscles. Now, I find the best way to detense your muscles is to stretch them and tense them. So you kind of go, ah, and then you let go, or you kind of go, ah, and you clench everything, and then you just go, ah, and let it all go. And that's actually a more effective way to relax your muscles, or at least it is for me. So, the visualization. It is twilight. You are standing in a sacred grove, trees all around you. Look at the trees and touch their bark. Feel the bark. Feel the earth beneath your feet, the cool grasses brushing against you. Smell the breeze and listen to the wind rustling the leaves of the trees in your grove. Now look beyond your grove to the landscape beyond. Ahead of you is a small hill. As you walk towards it, you see an opening in the side of the hill with a low stone doorway, 2 uprights and a huge lintel. A small ochre-coloured stone stands outside, with 3 bands of red about it and moss around its base. You may pour a libation here if you wish. You stoop down to enter the doorway and find yourself in a tunnel which goes upward into the hill. It is not too dark, as there seems to be a light source up ahead. Eventually you emerge into a big open space, and as you stand blinking, your eyes adjusting to the light, you see that there are 2 people in the cave, an old person and a child. They are sitting by a fire, which reflects its warmth and light onto their faces. Look at the old person. How are they dressed? Take their hand. How does it feel? Look into their eyes, listen to them, talk to them, give them a gift. Perhaps they will give you a gift. Now the child. How is it dressed? What will it tell you? Talk with the child, look into its eyes. Maybe you exchange gifts with the child too. And now look into the fire and notice how its dancing flames form shadows on the walls of the cave. Hairy arms, hands, tongues and beasts' shapes rise up and flicker on the walls of the cave. They are scary, but you have the reassuring presence of the old person and the child. And now you look again into the flames and see a person forming in the fire, beautiful and golden. The person rises out of the fire, the embodiment of your inner self. The person smiles at you. Gaze into their eyes. Let your gaze caress them, but do not touch. In turn, the firelight illuminates a deep pool at the back of the cave. Its dark waters are smooth and peaceful, rippling gently towards the shore, as the pool is fed by a spring. You see that the moon has risen and is shining through a small opening in the roof of the cave and is reflected in the dark water. You can stoop down and drink the water. Feel the silver moonlight filling you. Now it is time to go, and when you turn around you see that the flames have died down to embers. The fire being has disappeared, and the old person and the child are two stalactites in the cave. You turn and walk back down the passage. Stoop low to go out of the entrance, and are back on the green slope of the hill. Ahead of you is your grove. Walk back to the grove, greet the trees, and sit down once more upon the earth. As you sit, close your eyes and feel yourself gradually returning to the place where you started, and the time and the room. So just take a moment to think about the images that arose for you in the visualization and what they might mean to you. Because the aim of the visualization is to make you think about archetypes, specifically Jungian archetypes. So if you want to find out more about Jungian archetypes, there's some great stuff on the internet. There's also Jung's books on the four main archetypes. But the idea of the visualization is to give you an experiential encounter with those archetypes without prescribing too much what they are. And you'll notice also that I didn't prescribe what gender your inner archetypes should be, because although the Jungian system says, well, this one's female and that one's male, not everyone, since I've been doing that as a non-gendered visualization, a lot of people have actually come up with the non-standard gender of their inner child or their inner old person. So you can't, it's much better to leave it open rather than saying, well, you must have a little girl, you must have a little boy or whatever. And that's all part of the not prescribing what things look like thing that I mentioned earlier. And you'll notice that I contradicted that by having a red rock or a sandstone rock with red bands around it. But that was a specific reference to a specific thing, so that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will be doing these videos roughly every week. As I say, did one last night and it all went horribly wrong, because all I got was me going hello and that was it. And if you want to find out more, have a read of my book, All Acts of Love and Pleasure, Inclusive Wicca. And you can also find my other books, Dark Mirror and The Night Journey. You can find links to them on my Instagram page. Bye. Blessed be.